Guys, back in the garage, we got some goodies in some boxes that I picked up today from my local powder coater. Welcome back, by the way. And we're gonna open them up and see what's inside. I've never been excited to open up some crappy oversprayed boxes ever in my life before, but today is the day. So we got ourselves some springs, we got some mirrors. We're gonna unpackage some of this stuff and show you on video. The powder coat came out perfect as usual from our friends over at Pacific Finish. He's the one that did all our radius rods, trailing arms, A-arms. Pretty much all the powder coated blue and black parts on this machine have been done by him, and they have always done a great job. So I'm getting this machine ready. We're gonna take it to the sand show again. We're gonna be at the 5150 Whips booth again. It's gonna be a ton of fun. I'll be saying hi to you guys, and yeah, I gotta freshen her up because she's been taking a beating. All those trips to Johnson Valley, Al Mirage, the times we went to Glamis, it's taking its toll. There's some beat up parts, mostly the ones that were in the box. The springs are rusted, so on and so forth. I gotta put my shock tower brace back on. We also gotta put the mirrors back on. We got some trim pieces for the interior. For the show, I might as well swap these belts out because they've, you know, turned purple from sitting in the sun, and that's what all the parts in the boxes. The reason why I send them out to powder coat is because they also turn purple. The anodizing just was not holding up, and the sun eats everything, as you guys know. So store your machine inside of a garage. But unfortunately, I had a lot of cars here this year working on cars, and this would have to sit outside, but I finally got a cover for it, so hopefully that won't happen again. Now, this is a part of a yearly thing that you guys should get used to when it comes to owning a UTV, especially if you're going ham, you're hauling ass, all that good stuff. You may be recoating parts from time to time, maybe once every 2 years or whatever it may be, to freshen it up, because stuff will start rusting, stuff will start turning purple, and depending if you care about that stuff or not, you may have to coat it. For me, if the arm is rusted or has a bunch of chips in it and it's starting to rust, that's a no. I want to recoat it and make sure it's protected from you know, rusting and whatnot. And as far as the springs, same thing, they're rusted, gotta take care of those, and just all the little bits. This machine's gotta look good because this is what I drive, and this is the machine that most of you guys know me for, the blue, big blue Can-Am X3 Max. So I also bought a new front fascia because the old one was broken, and I gotta rewrap that, but I'll do that off camera because it's a pain in the ass. The front suspension I pretty much put back together. I have some hubs on order, and then I freshened up the ball joints and put the axles back on. I actually coated the axles in a clear to help keep them from corroding because they were turning really ugly. I don't know why I did that. I guess I'm nitpicky, I guess. But I gotta do the same thing to the rear and check those bearings. There's the front fascia that I gotta rewrap. Again, pain in the butt. So I'll show you guys how to do brakes in another video. But for this video, we got all this stuff to unbox. So let's get some of this stuff out of here. These are the 5150 mounts. There was nothing wrong with them. The coating was still good. But I figured I was making a trip to the powder coaters, and that's gonna look freaking awesome. So I got 3 of them because one holds my 360 camera, but these right here, the ones without a hole in it, and I put a hole as kind of like a set screw, but that's only for my my 360 camera because the camera's probably heavy. So man, this is gonna be a pain in the butt. I thought this was gonna be easier. Oh. And there's that. Doesn't that look sexy? Let me show you the mirror. All right, testing. Here we go. Boom.
So awesome.
So that's gonna look freaking killer on there. The light pod is still gonna be black, so I mean it's gonna look really good. I'm happy with that. So I can reinstall those. And let's check out how the spring came out. Because I was a little worried that he was gonna maybe spray it on too thick, because this blue is like a translucent candy. But man, let me show you guys. That looks absolutely awesome. Just like you know, my arms. God damn, it looks so good when it's fresh. So this is for the rear, I believe, or the front. I can't tell. Actually, this is the front. Is it? Man, I can't fucking tell. It came out perfect. So a lot of you guys are gonna mention to me in the comment section, and I'll pretty much talk about it for a second here. Powder coating your springs, your shock therapy springs, is gonna void your warranty.
Hey, thanks. Ow, my eye. Ow, 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 ow.
And the reason for that is well, their explanation is sometimes some powder coaters out there, the way they take off the old coatings may involve heat, and that could potentially damage the spring rate of the spring. So that's one reason that shock therapy voids the warranty. But I think the main reason is because you know, they put their part numbers and, you know, the letters shock therapy on the springs, and that's the only way they can warranty something if they know the spring is theirs. Because now this spring could be from another company, Eibach or MTS, and shock therapy doesn't know that. So either way, I don't really care because I wasn't gonna leave them as rusted as they were because they look really bad already. So I had to coat them, I had to replace them, or I had to recoat them. And you know, it is what it is. If it needs new springs in the future, which I doubt because the springs have been awesome, I'll just buy a set. Shock Therapy is a great company and supporting them is good. So we gotta throw these on. These are gonna go for the rear. I believe there's 2 smaller ones that are gonna go for the upper on the front. And this is gonna have a bunch of black stuff. So here we got the shock tower brace, and yeah, it looks all nice and saran wrapped. And then here we got the catch can that I run. This is an Evo catch can. It's been a great product, and that's why I'm still running this one. But yeah, it has definitely seen better days. The anodizing was literally white, and now it's nice and glossy. So I know this is probably the worst color you could do for off-road because any small scratches you will instantly see them. But I don't know, that's how I run my car, and I keep it pretty clean. I also did the shock spring, what do you call this, like locking plate. This is what holds the springs on the shock. It kind of locks into the eyelet at the bottom of the shock. And these were really faded, so I went ahead and did them gloss black as well. Look at the attention to detail that the guys from the powder coating do. They even put a little piece of foam or something to keep from damaging the threads, which is much appreciated. So there's a lot more stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and unpackage all this stuff and put it on my tailgate here and just show it off. All right guys, I got everything unwrapped. Everything looks absolutely amazing. Super happy. My catch can, I forgot to take out the O-ring, and they are very detailed. Over at Pacific Finish, they took off the O-ring for me, so that came out great. Let's go over here. We got more stuff on the freaking truck here. A bunch of black, whole ton of it. There's my springs. These are all going to be upper springs, so these are the rear and these are the fronts, and these are going to be the lower springs in black. And then over here we have the LP4s freshened up and glossed. They were so faded, it just did not look good anymore. So I'm very happy that these are now freshened up. These are for the limit straps. These are the clamps that hold on to the shocks, so they're going to be nice and bright and black again. They were great how they were. They had that machine edge everywhere, the Shock Therapy logo, but they were purple, and I had to coat them. So I wish they were you know, factory new, but it is what it is. They're gonna look great powder coated black. These are the lower shock or spring retainers on the shocks, so this is gonna go below the springs. I probably should have done those in blue, but I don't want to do too much blue. These are just the holders for the LP4s. These are for the Squadron Pros. What else? I didn't do the Squadron bodies because it was too difficult to take them apart. I mean, I probably could have done it. I could have just probably cut the wire and then pull the wire through, or I would have to desolder the wires from the circuit board because it's yeah, I wasn't gonna do all that. I just left it alone. So it's fine like that. I mean, I'm happy with it. I might polish it a little bit just so it's shiny like this versus up here it's a little dull. I tried it. I mean, it looks better right there, and I could polish that too, and that'll be fine. The front lip will be nice and gloss. Yeah, and then what else? In the inside is not gonna be much else. I might swap these out, but that'll be another video to talk about. So it's gonna be a long night. I gotta go ahead and start installing some of this stuff. I'll probably start with the shocks and the shock tower brace. So I put the front end on the ground under its own weight, and then I'll probably move on to the rear, install the sway bar. By the way, get yourself a quality powder coater. Look at that. He even didn't coat in sections, and he put tape on there. Let me take that off. He didn't coat in the sections where he knew he could see the visible wear marks. So shout out again to Pacific Finish Powder Coating. I'm gonna put a link to their location. They're a hole in the wall, but they do really good work, and they charge the best prices that I've seen around. So there's like 3 or 4 powder coaters in my area. I drive a bit further than them to visit Pacific Finish because they always do the best work at the most reasonable price. So I'm really happy, and consistent work. Like, this came out the same exact color as my arms. It's hard to see on camera, but so I'll start installing everything. I gotta reassemble the lights. I got new hardware for all my shocks because some of them were starting to rust, and that's all it takes to start developing a crack or developing some sort of issue and cause damage. So let's get to it. I'll put this machine back together, and we can actually move it around again. So let's do it. All right, guys, when it comes to powder coating these springs, don't go tell Shock Therapy that, hey, G-Life UTV powder coated his springs and his car's been just fine, because they're gonna say, go pound sand and go pound sand G-Life UTV. So keep it in mind, guys, do not powder coat these if you plan to keep your warranty with them. They're not gonna, you know, warranty anything. If the spring breaks or if there's an issue with the spring rate and the spring starts sagging, they're not gonna warranty it, especially if you powder coated it. So just keep it in mind. I'm doing it because, I mean, they were already really bad. So this is spring compressor that I use. It's really good. I'll leave a link down in the description. It is expensive. It's a JackTech model. If you're not gonna do this often, I don't recommend buying it. I'll leave a link to a different spring compressor that is a little tricky to use, but is doable. And I've used it before. It works. But it is a lot harder to change out your springs. This is a lot easier for me. So yeah, spring installs are pretty simple. You just gotta make sure that the spring ends are clocked, you know, 180 degrees from each other, and then you just compress it, install your coupler lock, whatever you call this thing. I don't know what you call it, and that'll be it. So let's do that. So if any of you guys had the issue where this was fading, it's really just 4 Allens, and then the whole thing will pop off like this, and then you can just push the lens through and send this off to powder coat. And if you got a good powder coater like me, he didn't powder coat on the machine face where, you know, it goes on the light. It probably wouldn't even matter as long as they don't get in the threads, because this does have pretty much all Baja designs have these O-rings, and that's what keeps the water out. So so I gotta say, Baja Designs is probably still my favorite manufacturer, and that's why we sell them on the website. But there's other brands out there that are pretty good, or, you know, on par with Baja Designs, and I would say Heretic and Casey are probably 2 of those brands. All right, gated shifter is in. I can't turn on the dome lights because the car is dead. That sucks. Steering wheel button, faceplate, whatever you want to call this, installed. Looks great. And then the front end, or actually the mirrors are on there. These are back on, the lights, the Squadron Pros. Mirrors look great. Powder coat matches the wrap perfectly. Over here, well, the front end I already had it back together except for the top end. I got the shocks on, and the springs came out perfect. I'm very happy with those. Shock tower brakes is on, installed, bolted down, torqued, cross-checked. I got these axle wraps from my friend Adam over at Can-Am Life on Instagram. Shout out to Devil Mountain UTV, and he hooked me up with those. Not sure how I feel about them yet, because they haven't been on there for more than 20 minutes, so I gotta ride with them, see how they last. And then towards the back, actually towards the front, I started adding these stainless screws. So I'm gonna start doing more stainless screws with the button or the washer, whatever you want to call that. I don't even know what you call this. Beauty washer, I guess you could call it. In the back, I put on, man, it really doesn't feel like I did a lot of work, but I've been at it for like 3.5, 4 hours. The rear shocks are on. I just gotta bolt up the limit straps and the up top here. They're kind of hard. That's pretty much it. Put the sway bar back in. I got that guy in there. It's hard to see. I'll grab a light. But all that stuff's in there. It's looking good. That little small shift plate makes a nice difference right there. I like that. So all this was a pain in the butt just to do everything one bolt at a time, getting it right, tying down the shock tower brace, make sure it's good, rerouting all my wiring for my LP4s, and you know, zip tying everything, make sure everything's good. Limit straps are on. I did adjust them a little bit because the last time we were out, I remember I was having a little bit of extension clunk, so I fixed that. And then the back, like I said, this is all pretty much set up. Those guys look cool. Sway bars on there. The only reason I powder coated the sway bar, which is a weird thing to powder coat, honestly, is because it was so gray. I don't know if from soap over time, but the paint was just gone. It looked really like matte, but that whitey matte where there's like a chalky, you know what I mean. It just looked really weird. So I did that. Axle wraps in the back for the axles. What is that? I forgot what this is called. It's 2 in the morning, guys. I'm already out of it. The catch can from Evo, that's back on there, powder coated black. I mounted the shocks back on. These brackets were powder coated black because they were all jacked up too. I like how that's set up. Yeah, shocks are bolted up top. They are not bolted down at the bottom. I'll have to do that another day. I will remember though. So what else? I think that's it, man. I think there's gonna be a separate video for these brakes, how to do brakes, because a lot of guys have issues taking out the bolts because there's a bunch of Loctite. And let me tell you, it is a pain in the butt, but if you use heat, it will come out. But we'll do that in another video. This I'll do another day eventually off camera. I'll rewrap this one because this one's already, it's all jacked up already. The wrap doesn't even stick to it no more. So then I can put my front end back on, and then I can put the LP4s back on. Where are they at? They're right here. I just got these new covers, and they look sick. So hopefully that'll help with, well, I don't know what that helps with, but it looks cool. Matches the ones I got for the Squadrons. Everything else is great. I mean, the powder was jacked up on the arms right here. I said that in the last video. I polished it up. It looks good enough for me. I'm happy with it. I might give everything a little bit of a polish just so it looks nice and shiny for the sand show. But let's be honest, dude, I'm gonna go riding again. It's gonna get jacked up, so I might just wait until like the week before the sand show, then I'll clean it up and polish it up. But it's gonna get used. That's what it's for. So I love it. These are gloss black now. They used to be anodized with the machine lines. Honestly, I liked it better how it was, but then again, it doesn't look bad. I mean, everything's gloss black and blue, so it looks great. So that's it for this video, guys. It's been a long night. It's 2:15 or 2:20, whatever it is. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Comment down below, what do you think of the setup? Am I babying this car too much, or am I whooping its ass and I'm just refreshing it? Because that's what I think I'm doing. I mean, I haul ass on it, shit gets jacked up, the shocks were getting hot, this melted. I mean, the ball joints were kind of needing service. The arms had freaking gouges in them, and I freaking clean them up as best as possible. Snapped axles in the back. Although these radius rods, the heims are still good. I noticed that the driver's side, the top one came loose. I gotta adjust that. I give this car hell. I think I do. And if I don't, well, then maybe I'm not just abusing it like some of the other guys out there. But either way, I'm having fun with it, and I'm gonna continue having fun with it. There is one thing that is bugging me quite a bit, and that's, maybe we'll talk about that in another video, but I'll give you guys a sneak peek of something that is not good and I need to address it. But for the time being, it's gonna roll. And I'll show you on the other side, because the other side is the problem child. Actually, they're both bad. I'm starting to develop cracks. As you can see there, that is very cracked right there. And it's not just the paint. That weld or whatever is definitely cracked. Rivets are falling out from where they're supposed to be. There's another, this might just be paint. I'd have to grind that down to check it, but that don't look good either. And then the ones that scare me the most are up here. They'd be hard to see, but up there in that corner, everywhere where the freaking tubes are welded together, it's cracked, and that scares me. So I do not want to have this frame come apart on me and break. It was known to happen on the older models, which this is a 2018. The newer models have thicker frame and doesn't really happen that much. This is a 2018 car. It's been through some shit already, and I've jumped it. I've gone ham on the whoops. I've taken it to Glamis, and I'm sure there's a lot of stress on this frame, especially with everything updated as far as the suspension. Everything gets transferred to the frame, and even though it's been running great, the potential for issues are there. So what am I gonna do? I don't know. I think my easiest bet in the meantime, while I get in search of another car, is probably just grind everything down, have somebody weld it up for me, and then respray it. I mean, honestly, you know, maybe add some gussets. Right there's not a lot of space, but up there's definitely some space to triangulate. We'll talk about that in another video. That's enough. We'll see you guys. Peace out.